Well, hello there, my name is Lovesbuds. Welcome back to F1 2011 in career mode for round 15 of Season 2. Suzuka, Japan. So, another generic newspaper headline. Frank Williams urges a repeat. Again. In Drivers' Championship we are first. Constructors we are also first so far. Season 2, race 15. Let's do this. We have one hell of a lead over Mark Webber at the moment, who is our rival for this season. And looks very much like we can win the championship right here in Japan. Scene of many a championship decider. So let's have a look at our emails for our race information. Surprise, surprise, they expect us to get a pole and a win. Weekends of weather is down here. We have practice and qualifying our light cloud. And the race is going to be held in heavy rain. Which actually does help us out a bit on this track, because I am not very good whatsoever on this one, as you may see from my qualifying and practice times. These are currently all my contracts as well: Lotus, Renault, Toro Rosso, Force India and Lotus. Two of them have till... oh, and Virgin as well. Most of them you have to decide by round 15 or 16, which is Japan and Korea. So let's dive straight into practice, as my computer's telling me something else. On an unrelated topic, I'm downloading a couple of things, so hopefully it won't interfere. Like Darth mod for Empire Total War. I'll play a bit of that as well. But anyway, as you see, just under 5 minutes of practice left. Spuds is in 18th. Webber's up in 5th, so unless we can pull an absolutely magnificent lap out of our backsides, we're going to be in the bottom of the field. As I currently at my best is a 1:33.4, which the learned among you may realise that that's not a very good time for someone who's playing on Legend AI. But yeah, as you can see, 1.2 seconds behind Hamilton. Slightly better than our best time, so hopefully we can get like a 1:32 at the moment. I didn't make too many mistakes. There's a big lock up there going into the hairpin of the front right tyre, but I'm trying to use DRS as much as I can. Sometimes I don't always remember that it's there, because I come from the old games way back from F1 98, so I'm so used to not having KERS and DRS available that sometimes you have to remind myself that it's there. So on the second sector time, we are half a second up on our best, so we should get 1:32. Still losing a crap load of time, 2.1 seconds as we come into the last chicane there, which I believe is the Casio triangle thing, whatever.
That's the end of the practice session. We finished well down the field.
So yeah, 17th, a 1:32.9, 2.3 seconds off the pace, and Barrichello is actually 8 tenths faster than me, which is kind of embarrassing to see. So, not looking terribly well to win the championship here. There's always time. As you can see, there's clouds gathering. Well, there are clouds gathering. Not that it should make much difference to this qualifying session. I think most of it was in the dry. I don't know if there was like rain towards the end of the session, because I can't remember. So, okay, yes, we're second so far. But as you can see, still on like a 1:32, that sort of time frame. Which, as you can see from practice times, that isn't going to be amazing. So let's see how we do on this lap. These first corners, the snaking S's or whatever, whatever they're called, I lose a lot of time on them because sometimes I don't know how to take them properly. I'll take them as best as I can, and that's all you can do really. This can be a tricky bit because you can see a lot of real life F1 drivers going to the wall there if you get it wrong. Still locking up that right front tyre. Maybe that's a brake balance issue or setup issue, I don't really know. Because I'm trying to be as light on the brakes as possible. Going wide at this corner called, what is two corners called the Spoon. The what is basically the back straight. You gotta have some balls to go around that corner, because usually you take that full throttle, maybe lifting a little bit, because most of the F1 drivers do lift a little bit. But I just want to make sure I don't end up going off wide and losing a good time. So there you go, my final times are 1:31.930. Still 1.7 seconds off the pace. And still Barrichello's actually finished ahead of me. It's one track where he's obviously better than me on. So he qualified in 9th. Webb is on pole, so this could turn out to be a really interesting race. Of course, we know when it rains, everyone has a very good chance of getting up there in the points and winning the race. And the weirdest thing on this game as well is the AI can set really fast times in the wet during qualifying, and yet when it comes to the race they're actually a lot slower on some tracks, which is kind of weird. But hey, here we go. As you can see, it's pouring down with rain. The orange walled wet tyres are in use today. We start down in 13th. Just loading a setup I found. Japan dry setup isn't maybe not as good as I thought it was, but we got a wet setup here. Just found one on the internet. Found one on the internet to maybe get up and go for the win, especially if the championship with this is within our grasp on this race. So yeah, bit of extra effort. So as you can see, we have Mark Webber on pole, Schumacher's in 2nd, Barrichello is in 9th, and I'm down in 13th, about midway. So we're starting next to Massa, got Petrov in front. Trying to maybe go for the inside line, but we're off. But Petrov moves across, and we sort of move to the outside of the first corner, right between Perez and Barrichello. I slow down a bit too early there because I am petrified of not... petrified of going straight on at that first corner because of how wet and the poor visibility. Side by side with Barrichello going around these corners. Try not to take each other off, so I backed out slightly. But I know I'm a bit faster, so I'm sort of going around trying to get past him. He's gone slightly wide there. I thought he was going to crash into me then, but it didn't quite happen. And we got the better of him without too much incident. Oh, bit of a tap on Alonso. Unfortunately, that tap on him managed to send me nearly spinning, so I ended up coming across again and hitting him. But we go up the inside of him for the hairpin. Just making it stick. He was trying to come back on me, but it didn't quite work. So we slotted in 8th behind Button. As you see, we're in his spray there. Can't really see a lot. That's the real challenge with the wet weather. The other challenge is to do it with traction control off, but I haven't done that yet. Coming up behind Button in the spray, using a bit of his slipstream there. But as you see, I've gone really wide on that corner. Coming into the chicane. We finished lap 1 in 7th. Trying to catch up to Kobayashi now. It's going to be quite a big ask to win this race, but you never know, we can do it. It's wet. We seem to be one of the fastest cars out on the circuit. And if I can go around these corners properly in this lovely little car. Oh, messing up slightly. Lost me some time. Bit of a tap on Kobayashi's rear left there, so that sort of sent me. If I didn't correct my steering, I probably would have wouldn't have gotten away with that. I might have spun. So it's set in purple lap times or sectors. Obviously, because it's lap 2. Someone will have the fastest lap by the end of this lap. Going in a bit too aggressive on Rosberg there, as you saw earlier. I got past Kobayashi on that other corner just before the bridge, side by side with Rosberg going around this high-speed section. And those numbers down in the bottom right are actually in miles per hour, not kilometers per hour. So to do that at those speeds is almost suicidal. But hey ho, it's only a game after all. We're coming up now to finish lap 2, nearly going to the back of Vettel there, so overcooking it as we go into the chicane. And at the end of lap 2 we've moved up to 5th, gained 2 positions.
Okay, DRS is now disabled due to wet weather tyres.
Yeah, DRS obviously disabled because you can't use it in the wet. Going really wide there, but luckily there's a tarmac runoff area, which made it very easy to get back onto the track. So we set the fastest lap, 141.3. Nothing too special. It's wet conditions. No one should be getting like 131s and stuff. So just messing with the devil. So I've gone straight into the back of Vettel there. Just to say sorry, I tap his front wheel and get him on the straight and narrow again, but we go for a dive on the inside of the hairpin again. That's a prime overtaking spot for me on this circuit, because the rest of the corners I'm not too sure about. Not too good on, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? You're watching the racing, maybe. If you haven't turned the video off by now. But yeah, we're up to 4th. Gap of 1.7 to Hamilton. We should be able to close that gap once we get through this chicane. Nearly called it a hairpin. We're doing really well. So I had a couple of requests over the last, a few requests over the last few weeks. People asking me to play with them online and all that. A couple asking for co-op season. And I have messaged them individually saying why I can't and all that. Because it's down to me working a full-time job and having other commitments in private life as well. Not to mention I'm also working with old friends from school. Well, I don't know why the term is old friends. They're friends. But I work with a group called Atomic Nerd, and we set that up like last May. And we do like cooperative videos on there. Ooh, and then move up the inside of the hairpin again. But I went in too deep, and Hamilton's got past again. But yeah, and as you can imagine, doing all that doesn't give me a lot of time to work with anyone else or do much with my subscribers. But if my circumstances were different, yes, I'd definitely join you guys for a few games and stuff. Unfortunately, currently can't do that. Oh, on the grass at 190 mile an hour. So got past Hamilton doing that, taking it to the edge and further. Yes, if I went on the grass like that in real life, I probably would have ended up losing control of the car. So I've got the call coming for the pits. See how we do, catching right up to Schumacher here. See if we can make a move. But yeah, going back to what I was just saying earlier, obviously I would play with you guys, but unless my circumstances change anytime soon, like winning the lottery or end up making a load of money from YouTube, it's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. If I was a younger man, it would be possible if I had got into this video making business a bit sooner. But hey ho, it's easy to look at that in hindsight. Oh, it's giving a little tap to Schumacher. Looks like we're going to make a move into the hairpin. Just backing off slightly so I can get a nice good run up without going into his gearbox. Moving up on the inside into second place. So now the battle is on. We need to catch Webber. Well, I think the points deficit is so much that if I finished in second, I could win the championship. I only have to get a few points. I don't need much to keep him at arm's length. Really going for it in the slipstream, giving a little bash. That was too aggressive for anyone's tastes. Unless you're one of those online players who likes to bash people out all the time, then, you know, sucks to be you. You obviously can't drive that well, but still. In for our pit stop. Let's hope it's a good one. And no, it isn't, because we got held up by a Sauber, and Schumacher has overtaken us because of that hold up. So now I've got to overtake Schumacher again, and I also need to overtake Webber to be sure of victory in the race. And who doesn't want to win the race when you can clinch a championship? You don't want to finish down the order just with enough points. You want to go out there, win, and win that championship in style. So let's see what we can do about that. Especially from when you start down in 13th like I have just done. Of course you want to finish with a win. Vettel has been overtaken by Hamilton. Oh, Jesus, had to do a bit of avoidance move there. Luckily no one has speared off into the barrier somehow, but we got past Schumacher. And we're slotting in behind Alguersuari. I don't necessarily have to overtake Alguersuari, but it would be helpful if he, I don't want to be held up. Tried to go for the move, sort of overcooked it a bit, went wide, and he's got past me again, but I should be able to get past him quite easily on this straight, mostly down to me having the faster car and my wet weather setup, which is slightly different from the bog standard quick setup, so it should allow me to be faster on the straights. So Webber has decided not to pit in, everyone else has, so we should move up to second now. Yep, as we just slide past everyone, getting their fresh tyres. So if we close the gap enough to Webber, yeah, we should be able to leapfrog him when he finally decides to go in. If I'm gaining on him, he should really have pitted with the others to not lose so much time, because the longer he stays out on older tyres, the better off it is for me, because then I'll be able to leapfrog him a bit better. You can see the gap is 19.4 seconds. Generally a pit stop is around 15 to 20 seconds, I think, give or take a few seconds. You need at least a gap like that to be sure that you'll stay in front of the following car, because this is when this is a crucial point in the race, because there is only one pit stop in the 20% distance races, and if you make the call at the wrong time, then it can cost you the position and ultimately the race. So I've closed up by 2 seconds on him. 17.7 seconds. So it's looking good so far. If I can get that down to about 15, 14 seconds maybe, we should be able to leapfrog me in the pits. You can see that gap is tumbling all the time. I don't know how many of you can see this, but he is the blue dot on the track map down there, and obviously I'm the red dot. Looks like he's coming up to a couple of bits of traffic there, so that definitely won't help him. If he doesn't come in this lap, then he's gonna lose the race, it seems, because I'm not being held up by anyone. I've got clear track ahead of me, and look, the gap is down to 15.9. So even we are half a second up on our best time. So it's looking good. Locking up the right front again. Still haven't sorted out my brake issues. I think my brake bias is to the rear, but I'm still getting a lot of front lock on there. But hey ho, we'll survive. So what else is going on in F1? Everyone is still on their mandatory break before Belgium in September. I think.
We're not sure which driver it is yet.
I can't exactly remember when the dates were, but I know it's 2 weeks they've got to have off. Right, left, right, front locking again. Webber has finally come into the pits, but it's too little, too late, as he's finished his pit stop and is coming down to rejoin the track. Yep. So Webber comes out in second, just ahead of Schumacher. So it's looking good for us. Looking very good. Just 2 laps to go. No, 3 laps to go, including this one. So we should be good for the win and the championship. The heart rate rises in anticipation. You've got to make sure you don't make any mistakes. Don't spear yourself off into the barrier. Don't do anything like this, because now I'm getting edgy. I know that win is within sight, and what everyone chases for in their career, the F1 world title. So we just need to keep it on track now. Not bad race at all. We've had to come up from 13th up to 1st. This wouldn't have happened in the dry. Of course, in the dry I would have had another train of people behind me being held up. But in the wet on this track we seem to do okay. But as I was saying, what's going on in another lock up there? Be really careful. But as I was saying, in the end, the real world of F1, devastating news for Robert Kubica fans. His rally accident that he had in February of 2011, I think, before the start of the 2011 season. He had a massive accident, lucky to walk away from that, but his hand was so completely damaged that all the countless hours of surgery and all the post-op, nearly back end sliding out there. But yeah, sorry, all the countless hours of rehabilitation for the limb and all that. He has movement in his hand, but we believe it's a problem with his elbow and his movement of his arm and all that, which means he can never return to F1, which is a real shame for the Polish driver, because there was a crap load of potential in him. He had won, I think he won a race or two. I think he has won races, I know that much, and I think his career could have gone a lot further if he didn't have that accident, which is a real shame. real big shame really, because at practically every race, especially at Hungary, there were banners for Robert and all those fans who never gave up hope of seeing him return. But unfortunately, that is never going to be the case. And it's a real shame to lose such a promising talent. So we're starting the last lap now. Webber is 6.3 seconds behind. This is going to look quite comfortable for a victory. And now, I don't know if some of you have noticed, but my driving is a lot more careful on this lap. I'm just trying to get to the end. I know I've got time to relax. I don't want to push it too much. I don't want to wreck it. I don't want to ruin it. Still kind of corner though. But so it looks like we're going to finish ahead of Webber, our rival. And maybe we'll get a contract offer from Red Bull, as long as it works this time. Someone asked me last time if your contract offers are based on your reputation level, and I believe they are. People said they were bugged, but I believe it is connected to your level, because I don't really know, because I'm in level 20s and I've only just started getting offers from Lotus Renault and all that. So maybe my reputation last year was way too low to get an offer of Ferrari, which is a shame, but that's just how it works, I guess. But anyway, we're crossing the line. We're going to win the race and the championship. Love Spuds is the Drivers' World Champion in F1 2011. Gained 12 positions.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Well done. 25 glorious points. Let's see where Barrichello finished. Barrichello got a single point. That may as well have been a race win for him. Virgin, D'Ambrosio down there. Virgin's not doing too well, as they have done in previous races this year. That's how it goes, and there you go, confirmation. 318 points to Mark Webber's 188. No one can catch me now. And there's your ultimate proof, the PlayStation 3 trophy for Drivers' World Champion. And you would not believe how happy Mr. Spuds is to do that on the hardest difficulty in any game he's ever played before, because it's just something I can do, I guess. I can keep it on the track long enough to actually win some races. So the real battle now is with the constructors. Red Bull are only about 30 points behind. Williams about 28 points. So that's where the real battle is. I'm not going to get too much help from Barrichello, because I never have done this year. So it's just keeping the Red Bulls behind, trying to win races. That's where the real battle is going to be. That'll take that one. That championship will be down to the wire, to the last race. And basically, when you win your championship, this is the cutscene you will get. It's nothing special. It's just a more animated version of celebrating. Bit of a jumping up and down with the guys there. And the rain has suddenly cleared up somehow.
How does it feel to be the Formula One World Champion?
I have to say, this has got to be the greatest feeling in the world. Of course. There's nothing better in motorsport than that feeling. How do you feel about the season? It's a fantastic feeling that I'll never forget.
Driving a Formula One car is challenging enough in itself, but when the weather turns against you, that's one tough day at the office.
One tough cookie indeed.
Conditions out there.
Well, to be honest, we had a great setup which made things a lot easier. Sure did. Here we are, the season continues. And there is our contract offer from Red Bull for Mark Webber's seat. Not accepting anything now. I wait till the end of the season to weigh up all my options. Unless someone else comes along anytime soon, it may be a time to move to Red Bull just for a change of scenery. But there you go. The email from Sabine saying that your driver's world champion. 9th win of the season. That's equal to a feat matched only by Nigel Mansell and Mr. Michael Schumacher. So, well, next stop is Korea, and I turn the traction control off. I'll see you next time.